All right. I'm just going to hang out here, wait for some people to join. If they do, if they don't, great. This will be posted for a little later. I'm just going to hang out for a minute. Sorry, my hair is kind of a mess. Got to update everybody on where I'm at and everything that's going on. So, like I said, we'll just hang out here for a moment and then we'll get things going. Hopefully, you're having a great Tuesday. I know I am so far. All right, we'll go ahead and get things started here. So, just to this is basically just an update on what's going on with me. Um, Sorry I wasn't on this morning. Not even so sure I'm going to be on tomorrow morning, but we'll get back to a schedule. So they did a nerve block up here before they did the surgery. And what that did is it completely numbed my entire arm. So it's kind of like dead right now, but it's kind of coming back. So, like my fingers, that's all I got. I can't do anything else. So it's a little bit of a process, but that's okay. I'm going to be in the sling and bandage until October 7th. And then I go in, they're going to remove my stitches. And after that, I'm going to be in a cast. So it might be a little bit easier for me to get in here and do this. The biggest problem I have is I'm not ambidextrous. So my left arm is pretty much kind of useless. So I'm kind of learning that, yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Some daily things are going to be a little bit of a challenge for me, and but we'll get through it. The human race is strong, so am I. So we'll get through it, and we're gonna rock and roll this thing. So just want to kind of give you an update on the weather, what's going on in our neck of the woods versus what's also happening out in the Atlantic Ocean, as I've been watching that very closely. But it looks like we're safe. And Imelda, I don't know how you say your name. Let me get back in there real quick. I could be, yeah, Imelda is going to kind of get sucked in Humberto there. There's a stalled front coming from Florida, the coast of Florida, and then going out into the Atlantic basin. And what that's doing, that's going to take these hurricanes and it's just going to kick them out, which is great. So Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, you're going to get some rain and things like that, maybe some higher surf, but these things are going to push off out into the ocean and bless us with not their presence. So that is great. But what does that mean for us, Brad? That means as these kind of get sucked out, they're going to work on killing that omega block that's been keeping us in this hot weather. Hopefully you've been enjoying it because it's not going to last much longer, folks. So we're looking for this puppy to break on the 6th, currently the way it looks. And that's going to be our first chance for some wet weather. Severe weather doesn't look likely, but then looking at the 7th, our temperatures are going to tank. So we're going to reach in the low 70s as our high. And it looks like moving forward from that, we're going to stay there. And then we're going to get down into the 60s as our highs by mid-month. So definitely some cooler weather coming. We could definitely see some of the 30s starting to sneak in by around the 15th, or I'm sorry, the 16th and after at night. So that's going to be pretty interesting. So keep that in mind as we go through the next couple weeks. There's going to be a huge shift in the weather pattern. We're going to see a couple cold fronts come through. They're going to be relatively weak in power. And then they're going to come through and give us some of that moisture back. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for being here. So just kind of giving an update on my health and what's going on as far as that goes. Surgery went well. We were talking about the hurricane a little bit and how those are getting pushed off to the east, and they're not going to really affect the coastal states all that much. Talking about a weather pattern shift, that's going to come Monday the 6th. It's going to come that evening. We'll start to see some wetter weather come in around that time. I'm not sure when I'm going to come back to doing this full time in the mornings. Like I was saying a little bit ago, my arm is dead right now. That's all I got as far as movement in my hand. It's getting a little better. They did a nerve block. It should have been up by now, but it is what it is. So the procedure I had done is called an ulna shortening. We had, I had broken my arm as a child, and apparently it grew back a little too long. I re-injured it, and it caused ulnar impaction syndrome, where I was bruising the bones in my wrist constantly. So they had to go in and shorten that. Got some other health things going on, but this is one that I really needed to get out of the way, as it was affecting daily life pretty hard. So it's a little bit of a challenge to type and get things going and work with my left hand, because it's kind of a wonky thing going on here. But either way, we're going to stay in the 80s through the 6th, and then the 7th we're going to drop down into the 70s. As we go through there, within a week or two, I mean, it looks like the bottom's just going to drop out. We could see a little bit of warmer weather as we get into November. But like I said, we're going to have a cold winter, I think, this winter, but it's going to be mainly dry with probably a few larger snowstorms than we've seen, as I'm getting into it here, but nothing is guaranteed. It's too far out. So I've seen a lot of people already starting to talk about snow and snow with Bob and all these other guys. Guys, don't fall for that. You can't. It's impossible. So sorry, I'm a little bit scratchy. I'm not even on any pain meds yet, but I'm sure you guys will see when I'm on pain meds if I am. I'm going to try to avoid taking them, just because I don't like pain medication and I don't like putting that stuff in my body. But something cool that was going on space weather-wise, we had another Aurora Borealis last night into this morning. I don't know if any of you saw that. If you did, drop that in the comments. I was trying to find a way to sleep last night, so I probably could have got out and got some pictures and whatnot. It didn't work out. So, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask. That's what I'm here for. Wednesday and Thursday will probably be like partly cloudy. Wednesday, mostly cloudy. On Thursday, which is going to cool things off for us a little bit, down in low 80s as our highs. Wednesday night down in the 40s. Like I said, the bottom's really going to drop off after the 7th. So we'll start to see some of that cooler fall weather. So be ready to get out and do some of the cool fall things. There are multiple chances of rain coming up in the next couple weeks as well after the 7th. So that's when our pattern breaks and the jet stream is going to drop down and start giving us some of that fall relief. And hopefully this will cause some, once we get some of that wetter weather in here, it'll help the trees change in a more vibrant way, rather than what we've been dealing with is just green, dry leaves falling off. So, but that's about all I got. I'm not trying to stay vertical and not elevate my arm all that much at this point. So I just wanted to come on, give you guys a proof of life today. I know it's not 6 to 9 morning coffee with Brad, and I apologize. I did have my coffee this morning. Wouldn't go anywhere without it. But yeah, as this nerve block wears off, I'm probably going to get into some pain because they cut my bone. But yeah, they actually cut it in half and shortened it. So we'll see. So yeah, I'm alive right now. Right now, I'm still comfortable. But as this nerve block wears off, I'm paying attention to how much I can move my fingers, because once that really comes in and starts to affect me, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be laid up a little bit. So keep me in your prayers. I appreciate it. Let's hope we don't get any infections or anything crazy going on. I don't foresee that. Like I said, I keep this bandage on and everything until I get my stitches removed. So we will see how that goes. Allergies are still really high right now. So, and that's probably going to continue for a while. Keep that in mind as ragweed and everything keeps affecting us. It looks like later in the week, it's going to affect us a lot more. So that's all I got. Any questions? Feel free to ask. I'm here. I'll stick around for another couple minutes. But that's about all I've got. I can tell you this. This is having the nerve block and the whole arm was a treat. If you guys want to hear something funny, I'll share it with you. But when I was they wheeled me back to the operating room. They did this nerve block first. So by the time I got back to the operating room, this arm was like just dead. It was just like flopping. It was really cool. And they're like, "All right, move over to the OR table." And I'm like, "Okay." So I grabbed this arm and I flopped it over my lap, and I scooted over really fast. My arm flies up in the air, and the nurse caught it. She's like, "Well, I saw that coming." And I was like, "Good grief." So then, they get me starting to lay down on the table and everything. And I felt like my arm was sticking up like this, out up and away from my body. And I look over and I'm like, all right. And I look where I think my arm is. And then I look back over at the OR table and I'm like, you're strapping my arm down and it feels like it's like this right now. And she's like, yeah, you'll have that. You'll have, ghost feelings and whatnot. I'm like, okay. I was like, how long is this going to last? They said 12 to 24 hours. Well, we're at 25 hours and counting. So that's a huge blessing that I'm not dealing with a lot of the pain and everything right yet. So that's why I decided to come on now so we could talk about some of these things and whatnot. But it's really weird to be able to like touch your hand and like you're touching your hand, but it feels like you're touching somebody else's. I don't know if you've ever had to deal with that, but it's interesting. I'm sitting here just like it's just dead. So that's what I've been dealing with. It's kind of been fun, kind of not been fun, but once this nerve block goes away, I'm sure the fun's going to end. Yeah, but then I don't know. We had a good time after I woke up too. That was pretty cool. So probably one of the best experiences I've had at Parkview here in Huntington. We'll see how the future goes. Not looking forward to getting the stitches out, and then I don't know how long we're going to keep that metal plate in there. I got a metal plate that they put in my arm as well, so that's kind of hold things together as it heals and whatnot. So yeah, if you want to, they got a video on YouTube that shows the procedure of an ulnar shortening, and I screwed up and watched that before I went in, so I don't recommend that. That's where they had my IV. It's really weird that they give you fentanyl during anesthesia. So I went through and looked at my uh, medical record for after the procedure, and the anesthesia report was on there, and it's like, oh, they gave me 3 doses of fentanyl. Really? Um, I know it's good stuff, but yeah, they kept me knocked out pretty good. Yeah. If you have any questions, let me know. So, but weather-wise, guys, we're gonna stay nice, dry, and warm for the next week. My birthday is coming up on October 5th. Hopefully by then we're back to morning coffee with Brad. That's my goal. Hopefully tomorrow. We'll see how the pain goes, because after this nerve block wears off, we're going to be back into the pain area of it. I got a cool written tattoo right there from my anesthesiologist because it won't come off. I tried to wash it off last night. But yeah, it was a good experience, good surgery experience. I'm healthy. I'm good. I'm alive. So yeah, any questions, let me know. We went over weather. We went over the hurricanes. Went over my surgery. I have not been out and about on the roads to tell you anything as far as that goes. I haven't seen any other news either. And I still haven't heard anything on Huntington Leaf Pickup. So if you work for the city or whatnot and you hear anything on that, do us a solid, drop us a line, let us know when that's coming. I already have some leaves out by the road, so that's the only reason I'm curious. Let's go in here and just look. Looks like they've made a few posts recently. They've talked about Oaktober, which is really cool. If you guys don't know what that is, go on and check that out. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't see anything on Leaf Pickup yet. So Yeah, I don't know. So hopefully it'll happen sooner than later, though. Is there any topics you want me to cover this morning? Let me know. Just kind of like a hangout time until I get to the point to where I can't do this anymore. So, like I said, I'm starting to get some movement back. Just paying attention to that. I know once everything's all the way back, I'm going to be in trouble. So, just figured I'd come on and enjoy some morning time with you guys. I'm done on the coffee today. I'm not gonna inundate myself with too much coffee. Trying to stay away from a bowel movement. Being right-handed and coming into that, knowing that's coming. I had a friend of mine message me, and I'm going to read you this because it's funny. Give me a second here. He said, "We have a quote around here. Not every day, but at least once a month. You got to practice wiping with the opposite hand." You never know what's going to happen, right? All right, guys. Well, that's all I have today. If I come on in the morning, it'll be a blessing. We'll see how things go with meds and all that. I'm just going to focus on recovery a little bit. If I have time to come on and do morning coffee with Brad, I'll do that with you, 6 to 9, and we'll go from there. If I'm not here 6 to 9 tomorrow, I'm sorry. I'll get on when I can, kind of give you some more weather updates and things like that. I would make a forecast, but my left hand's pretty much useless as far as typing goes. The notes you got for this stream is about as good as it's going to get. Hi, Hannah. My baby girl's watching. So, but we're going to hop off here. Just good morning, everybody. Prayers are appreciated. Thank you guys for all the well wishes. And after we get going here, again, like I said, we're in the recovery process. This is me waving bye. Oh, I hit the wrong button. It's part of using the left hand. You gotta learn to aim. All right, guys. Have a good day.